everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my diary entry for the week of December 8th to the 14th. Today is Saturday, December 14th. So this week was very, very stressful. I did go back to work on Monday, and so, yeah, I didn't get in as much reading or knitting as I wanted to. So we'll see how long this episode is, because I don't really have a lot to talk to you about today. But I did finish a couple volumes of manga. I also finished my audiobook, so I'll be able to talk to you about those. I started a new cast on, so I'll be able to talk to you about that, and I'll show you where I'm at with my Advent knitting project. So let's get into it. So we'll start off with the audiobook that I finished. So I finished A Sleigh Ride Together with You, which is the 7th book in the year-round Christmas mystery series by Vicky Delaney. This is a series that I like to read the most recent installment every year. Started reading it with the Book One Cozies Club, which was a cozy mystery book club that I had started and had hosted on my channel for about 5 years, and have just followed this series since. Really, really enjoyed meeting back up with the characters again. The audiobook narrator did change for this one, so I do feel like that had an impact in my enjoyment for this installment. But this one happens around Easter, and you might be thinking, well, Easter? I thought it was a year-round Christmas mystery series. This town has like a Christmas theme, which kind of brings in the tourists, but they also have festivities that go on during the regular holidays. And in this installment, our amateur sleuth Mary, she owns a little trinket shop called Mrs. Claus's Treasures. Her best friend is getting married, and they're in the midst of getting all the last preparations done for the wedding, and the friend and her fiance have just bought a house. This house has a little bit of a lore to it in town, and there's a little bit of discourse as to if they were even supposed to be able to purchase it, because it was owned by a woman who had passed away, and so there was some discourse about if it should have been inherited by somebody in her family instead. But there's just things going on. And eventually, the guy that's kind of causing all of the discourse is found dead on property. And so it's kind of piqued Mary's interest to try to figure out exactly what's going on, because, that's her thing. She's always the one that we follow in this series, looking into things. This series definitely has a little bit of a difference as far as the love interest goes for our amateur sleuth, because she's not romantically involved with the police officer or anybody in the police force in this series. And so that is a little bit of a breath of fresh air as far as cozy mystery reading goes. A lot of the times the amateur sleuth is involved with the lead detective or the police chief, or things like that, and in this case she's not romantically involved with somebody that's in that type of position at all, and so that's really nice. We check in with her parents, who have been staples in this series as well, and it was just a really nice time. I will say that this one did get off to a really kind of slow start with the mystery. I think I mentioned to you last time I was 5 chapters in and still no dead body. I don't think the dead body showed up for another couple chapters, but I'm not quite sure. Definitely after I had checked in with you last. And like I said, the audiobook narrator changed, and the narration made the characters feel different for me. They definitely felt a bit older. And, as I was thinking about it this morning, this series I've been following for 7 years, I think, if not longer. And so, our characters have been aging with the series. And so maybe they are older than I have them in my head now. But they sounded like much older, much more mature than when I remember like reading them even in the installment prior to this one. So I'm not sure. I may have to go back and reread this one physically in a few months and see what I think, maybe around Easter, and just see how I feel, because I think the narration definitely made them feel like different people to me, which was a little bit confusing, to be honest, while I was reading it. Plus, the feel of the story is different because, like I said, it didn't get started right away. And so while it was nice catching up with everybody in the town and, you know, seeing things go about with the wedding preparations and everything like that, it didn't really fit with the rest of the installments that I've read, at least for me, so far. I did end up still giving this one 4 stars. It was still an enjoyable, cozy mystery, and I'm looking forward to checking in with our characters again in the future. So the other 2 things I was able to read was just 2 volumes of manga from my Manga Advent Calendar project, and that is Dinosaur Sanctuary Volumes 4 and 5 by Itaru Kinoshita with research consultant Shinichi Fujiwara. These are published by 7 Seas Rated Teen. So this series follows a dinosaur zoo and the keepers of that zoo and their like daily interactions with the dinosaurs and trying to figure out how to, you know, run the zoo as far as getting people to come. You know, it talks about the financial stresses of the fact that, you know, not very many people are coming and what are they going to do if they have to close down. It also goes through them helping the dinosaurs that are sick, diagnosing them, and kind of checking in with each of the characters and like how they got into this type of a profession. Inside, there are also several notes from Shinichi Fujiwara about the dinosaurs in particular that are being talked about in regards to what research has been done, the evidence that they found in the fossils, and things like that that kind of tie into some of the stuff that you're seeing on page. I really, really enjoy this series. It is very interesting. In these 2 volumes, you have velociraptors, mosasaurs, there's a dinosaur that has an ailment that they're trying to figure out what to do, as well as, you know, the kind of previous experiences one of the dino doctors had, which is kind of weighing on the decision that he gives as far as how to treat a dinosaur. And, you know, it also talks about the different dino keepers and them working with dino keepers that they hadn't worked with before and them getting to know each other and things like that. I enjoyed these 2 volumes a lot. Really, really enjoyable. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with that dinosaur that they're trying to treat in volume 6. And yes, highly enjoyable series. And I'm looking forward to continuing with this one. If you're a fan of dinosaurs and learning about dinosaurs, I would definitely recommend this series. It's very, very interesting. So that's all that I was able to read this week. I have been very, very stressed out since I got back to work. I put in 7 hours of overtime this week, and I'm like burnt out. I don't really have much energy to keep my eyes open at night. And I think I've mentioned to you before, I do a lot of my physical reading right before bed at night. And I just haven't had the energy to stay awake to do my reading. And so I am quite behind now on my Manga Advent Calendar project. And like I had mentioned last week, I am having to read the Monica Manga Club selections starting now. Actually, I am behind already because I should have already started. And so I'm going to be even further behind with my Manga Advent Calendar project. But, you know, it is what it is. And I'm just going to try to enjoy what I'm able to read and just go from there. I'm stressed out enough as it is. I don't need to be stressed out about what I'm doing for my hobbies. And so, yeah, I'm just going to do what I can, and we'll see what I get through by the next time I talk to you. But since I did finish my audiobook, I'm able to pick up a new one next week. So I think I've already picked up the one that I'm going to try to start. I'll start that on Monday, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm really, really excited for that, actually. And so, yeah, that's everything that I've read up until this point. So let's get into another Yarnie update. So I think what I'm going to do first is share with you my project on my Advent calendar project. Just because I want to hold off on talking about the new project for a little bit. So this is the project that I'm working on with My Little Pony, a very minty Christmas Advent calendar from Yarn Cafe Creations. I got this in like 2020 or 2021. And so I'm finally using that. The project that I am working on is the Paul Klee sweater by Midori Hirose. And so let's see if I can arrange this nicely for you. This is what I've got so far. So I was here when I talked to you last. So I've only done this much, but I'm actually up to date. I put in through day 12 so far. So the next row will be days 13 and 14, which today is the 14th. So if I'm able to put in that row tonight, I will be up to date. So it's still looking really good. The row that I was concerned about is this row right here with the like orange color. But I think it looks really, really nice. And so last night I just put in this pink and purple row. And so, yeah, so far so good. Really, really liking how this is turning out. It is a little bit crinkly, but I presume that that is going to work itself out when I block this. So it's going to be a really, really nice, colorful yoke. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what it's going to look like once I'm done. So that is where I'm at with that. Really enjoyable so far. And yeah, it's going much better than I expected. And I'm enjoying the project. It's just a little bit of like, you know, color work. Not really, but it's a little bit of color work that can like keep my mind engaged. But it's still easy enough where I'm not really having to refer back to the pattern and then, you know, work a couple stitches and revert to the pattern and, you know, that kind of thing. So enjoying this project a lot, enjoying this bag. It's awesome. And so, yes, just slightly behind, if not up to date, but we'll see if I'm able to get that last row in tonight. If not, again, I'm not going to stress about it. And then I'll just continue and see how much I'm able to get done by the end of the month. Even though this is just a 24 color advent calendar, 24 skein advent, I should, if I'm able to keep up, have the yoke done by Christmas Eve. So we'll see if I'm able to do that. So that's this project in here, and let me grab my new cast on. Okay, new cast on is living in this bag that I had gotten in the summertime. And this is from Utterly Adorable Knits. And it is the Christmas Gnomes bag. And so inside is a sweater that I am working on for my daughter. So I think I had mentioned to you a couple of episodes back that I had gone to a fiber festival. And that I had picked up a mini skein collection from Wonderland or Magicland yarns. This is the Villians collection in the mini skein bundle. So there are 5 colors that represented Disney villains that I was going to use to make my daughter a sweater. And so the villains represented in this collection are Hades, Unfortunate Soul, which is Ursula, Be Prepared, which is Scar from Lion King. Extract of Llama has to be from The Emperor's New Groove, but I am going to be honest and say that I've never watched that one, so I don't know what the character's name is. But I'm thinking that is The Emperor's New Groove. And then Mistress of All Evil is Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. And so, yes, I have skeined up all of the colors into little mini skeins. So, like, here's Hades. I think this is Extract of Llama. No, this is Unfortunate Souls. That's Ursula. Maleficent. This is Extract of Llama. And then Be Prepared. And so to go with those skeins, I picked up from Knit Picks some of their Swish DK in Cobblestone Heather. So this is a 100% fine superwash merino wool in the DK weight. And I thought this would go really nicely with those skeins. So my thought on this was that we were going to do a similar striping pattern as Seismic Yarn did with their Koi Tee. So Seismic Yarn was another vendor that I had met at the Fiber Fair, and they had done a Koi Tee. I don't know who had designed that pattern, but it is on Seismic Yarn's Instagram. And it basically is using this type of a variegated yarn, but with a skein that has similar tones as some of the colors in the yarn. So it kind of is like a blended kind of stripe. So you can only see like parts of the stripe in your sweater. And so that's kind of the goal that we're going for with this. I did buy a mini skein collection from Seismic Yarn in the same colorway that they did with their Koi Tee to try to do a sweater for myself in the same striping pattern. But in looking at the patterns to use, we decided to try a free pattern on Ravelry that's from Tuku Wool. And so we went with the Juntu sweater by Tiina. Tiina Huhtaniemi. I think that's how you pronounce her name. But it's from Tuku Wool, and Tuku Wool is her wool company. And so I started on it, I think on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. And this is what we got so far. So it is, like I said, a DK sweater. It is a raglan. So actually it's more like this. It's a little bit hard to see because there's not a lot of fabric. But I have started the striping sequence. So you can see Maleficent there. And you can kind of see what I'm going for here. So you see how Maleficent has the purple and then it kind of fades to like a dark charcoal. And then it brings back the purple again. That's kind of the effect that we're looking for here. So it definitely makes the look interesting. I'm doing 2 rows per color. And then we'll just repeat throughout the sweater. So I did put in the first row of Ursula. And so I'm just getting ready to put in the second row of Ursula. Right now I'm still doing the increases down the raglan. And so far so good. I mean, it's a really easy pattern so far. I'm not having any issues. The only issue I had was user error because I didn't read the short rows correctly. So I did have to take back or rip back a few rows and then redo the short rows from the beginning, but that was my fault. I didn't read it correctly. This pattern is like a 2-page pattern, really, really simple instructions. And so, yeah, it's very customizable too. And it encourages you to try like different stitch patterns and things. And so when we were talking about this with my daughter, she had decided that she wanted to have knit 2 purl 2 ribbing instead of the knit 1 purl 1. So that's what we've done. It is a little bit off as far as where the raglan spine is on one side of the ribbing. It's just like 1 off, but she's not really gonna mind. We are doing size 1, which will give her 4, I think, inches of positive ease. 3 to 4 inches of positive ease, which is what is called for. I could not get gauge. This pattern calls for size 6 and size 8 needles. 6 for the ribbing, 8 for the body. My gauge was not even close to the size 8 or 9. I was too small with the size 8 and I was too large with the size 9, and what I really needed was an 8.5 and I didn't have it. So we decided to go with the size 8, and it should be well big enough for her. So yeah, enjoying this so far. It's really, really addicting because, you know, you do 1 row of the colored yarn and then you do 3 rows of gray, and then 1 row of color, 3 rows of gray. I am just carrying the yarn up as I go. No fuss, no muss. And I'm just really, really enjoying how this is looking so far. So we'll see how we go with this. Maybe I'll have sleeve separation for you next week, because this wool is much bigger than my Advent sweater, and it doesn't take as much like work. Like, I don't have to worry about my tension or anything like that, because it is pretty much just straight stockinette. And so really enjoying that project so far. I will say that some of my slowness with my knitting has to do with the fact that I injured my thumb on, was it Sunday night? I think it was Sunday night. I ripped my thumbnail, which I tend to do this, I think, every December. But this time, instead of ripping at the top, it ripped like in the middle section of my thumb, and it ripped about 3/4 the way across. So having the Band-Aid is not really helping when trying to do knitting. Especially like with the color work, the yarn keeps getting stuck in the Band-Aid. And so I actually ended up taking my Band-Aid off last night so that I could work the rows, because I just could not do it with the Band-Aid on. It just kept getting stuck. This project, though, because the yarn is thicker, it's not getting stuck underneath the Band-Aid. And so I was able to work on that without too much trouble. I think the skin underneath the nail has healed up enough now where it's not painful. It just feels really weird because the nail is kind of detached in certain areas. It got injured really weird, whereas there is definite separation. Like, there's a crack in my nail 3/4 the way across, but it's still attached for the most part. It's just the corner area that's not. So I can't really, like, like move the nail because it is detached and it feels weird, but it's not painful anymore. So that's great. So yeah, I tend to rip my thumbnail at least once in December, but usually it's like up here. And I think you've seen me repair it a couple times in previous vlogmases. So basically, I'm just waiting for this to be completely healed so that I can repair the nail and like strengthen it so that I don't have as much of a chance of getting it caught on anything and ripping off, because that would be painful. But yeah, that's kind of also been another reason why I haven't been able to knit as much, besides the fact that I've just been exhausted. 7 hours of overtime is a lot for me in 1 week, and I'm not used to working these hours, but I'm still like not caught up, and that's unusual for me. There's just so much stuff going on right now that wasn't planned, that I kind of came back from vacation and was just like, okay, you got to do this, 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 before even looking at the stuff that came in while you were out. And so it's been crazy. It's been crazy. But I'm still trying to keep my spirits up a little bit. We have been continuing to watch holiday shows, and actually we found the Holiday Baking Championships, which is a Food Network show, on Hulu. And when we were in Hawaii this year, we had watched a Halloween like baking championship show type thing. That was like, I guess it was on Food Network. I don't know. My uncle was like channel surfing and it had come on. And we really enjoy those shows, but we haven't had Food Network since we stopped using a cable service. And so when we had seen it come up on Hulu, my daughter was just like, oh, can we watch that? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. And so we've been watching that, and it's been really, really interesting and entertaining, and still gives those holiday feels, but it isn't like a holiday movie. So like if I zone out like I have been, I don't miss much. But we've been watching a lot of that. We have watched more Christmas movies. We watched the Haul Out the Holly sequel, which I was talking to you about last week. Enjoyed that one a lot. Again, though, it started off really, really irritatingly. Like 3/4 of the film was like irritating. So the end was really, really good. But yeah, the first like 3/4 of that film was just irritating. And so from there, we watched the Noel Diary, which is about a woman, or I should say it's about a guy who finds out that his mom has passed away and has left him his childhood home. There's lots of memories there. He's been kind of disconnected from his parents. And his parents divorced when he was little. And he's just been disconnected from both of them. He's like this big star writer. And he writes mysteries, I think, historical mysteries. So anyway, he goes back to the house and is like packing it up so that he can get it sold. And a woman comes to the door and says that she's been looking for her mom. She was adopted when she was a baby, and her mom used to work for the family that lived there. And so he kind of goes on this journey with this woman trying to find this lady that used to take care of him when he was a kid. And it was really, really good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. And so, yeah, that was good. Definitely, again, holiday feels. And then we've been watching a lot of the Holiday Baking Championship. And then last night we watched the Christmas Calendar, which is about a woman who has these really big dreams of becoming a photographer, and she just can't like get there. She's working in a like small mom and pop type studio in her hometown, and her best friend has like, made it in his life, and he's come home and kind of rekindled all of those aspirations in her. And it's about her receiving this like an advent calendar, but it's not one of those that is like disposable. It's like an actual wooden advent calendar that she has been left by her grandmother, who has passed away, and her grandfather gives it to her and is talking to her about how, he met her grandmother and the history of this advent calendar, and it kind of, brings her surprises, I will say. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Again, holiday feels. And so, yeah, we've just been really enjoying those holiday movies. And I'm looking forward to watching a few more. Daughter has definitely asked if we could watch White Christmas again. It is one of those movies that we do watch every year. I'm not sure when we're going to watch it, but it is definitely on the list. And so, yeah, we're just going through Netflix and Peacock and, all of the TV services that we have, Hulu, Paramount, trying to find holiday movies that we might be interested in watching. Because we've been so out of touch with holiday movies, but we're really, really enjoying taking those in this year. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all I've been up to. Not much, lots of stress. I'm exhausted. I injured myself. But still trying to stay in good spirits. And so, yeah. We'll see what happens over the next week. It's getting closer and closer to like D-Day for us in the office. And I've still got lots of stuff that needs to be done. There's lots of changes happening with the office. And yeah. Things don't feel real settled for me. I mean, every year it's really busy for me and my profession, but this year it's just, I don't know, I feel unsettled. Lots of things are up in the air. There are lots of balls like flying, and I don't feel like I am confident that I'm going to catch them all. Not that all of the balls are my responsibility, but a portion of the descent, I should say, is my responsibility, and I am not feeling as secure that things will progress the way that they should before D-Day arrives. I'm not having that sense of stability in the work. So that's a bit unsettling. And I should have known, because I kind of felt that going into my vacation. And I think that's why I've just been unsettled lately. Things are not as they have been in the past. And I'm just trying to work through it. But still keep my holiday spirits up. And so I think that's pretty much all I've got for you today. We'll see what I'm able to do over the next week. But again, life is busy. Work is busy. I'm not having much of life because work is busy. But I'll definitely fill you in a week's time to let you know what I'm up to. And yeah, if you are interested in seeing the other volumes of manga that my daughter's picked out for me for my manga advent calendar project, as well as my unwrapping of my Muppets Christmas Carol advent calendar, yarn advent calendar from the Corner of Craft, definitely make sure you go check out the shorts that are on my channel. I'm really, really enjoying seeing all of the selections the daughter has chosen for me to read, as well as the yarn skeins from the Corner of Craft. I just need time. I need time. And eventually I'll figure out what I'll do with the yarn advent calendar. But the manga, I'm definitely interested in getting to. There have been lots of titles that have opened that I'm really, really excited for. I just don't have time to read it, nor the energy. So I will definitely be doing that Definitely, those are priority reads for me. I just need the time. But let me know down in the comments below what you've been up to, what have you been reading, what have you been watching, what have you been working on. Have you found anything, either reading, watching, or crafting, that you've been really, really enjoying so far this season? I would really love to know. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me some kind of holiday emoji or winter type emoji down in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.